Welcome to Module 2 of the Designing Out Waste Tool for Buildings video tutorials. This module explains how to generate an indicative waste forecast. These tutorials demonstrate how to use the Designing Out Waste Tool for Buildings from registration through to final reporting. Module 1 introduces the tool and explains a little about designing out waste, the tool's data inputs and outputs, and how to set up a user account. This module, Module 2, explains how to use the tool to generate an indicative waste forecast and how to use that forecast to design out waste. Module 3 then explains how to use the tool to assess the impact of design solutions and how to add a waste forecast and waste prevention actions to the project's site waste management plan. This module explains how to set up a new project in the tool, how to enter project details, how to check and edit the tool's assumptions about your project specification, how to view your project's performance including an indicative waste forecast, and how to use the results to design out waste. We will finish with a summary before you go on to Module 3. As introduced in Module 1, there is a workbook for the tool that you can download from the RAP website. The workbook takes you through a series of tasks. If you wish, you can print the workbook and work along with these video tutorials, pausing when you come to the relevant task. I will indicate an appropriate time to pause for each task with this symbol. Module 1 explains the process of using the tool and covers the first step of registering or logging onto the tool. Now we're ready to add a new project. The first step is to enter project details. The tool will then apply a default specification to your project based on the project type. You can then edit the specification. Let's look at adding a new project in more detail. After setting up your user account as explained in Module 1, or after logging on, you will be taken to your own account screen. When you have set up your first project, you will find it listed here. In this table, you are told the project name, project ID, the date your project was created and modified, and you can also access the project report or send the project to the archive from where it can be deleted. Use project as template enables you to create a new version of the project, just like a save as. You can also see the project's waste arisings, waste to landfill, cost of waste, and embodied CO2. This is useful to compare with other projects in your list. You can access projects that others have given you access to here, or access example projects provided by RAP from here. You can add a new project by clicking here or here. You can download the user guide, data report, and other information from here. From here, you can change your account details, your password, or add guest users to your projects. If you add a guest user to a project, they will find the project listed in their My Guest User Projects tab. Let's click on Add New Project. The tool asks if you're adding a housing project. This is because the project input required for housing projects is different to other project types. Let's look at a non-housing project first. Now that we're setting up a new project, we can see where we are in the breadcrumbs at the top of the screen. You can see that there are 5 screens or steps in the project analysis. We're currently at step 1, which is project details. The tool was developed to require only high-level project information that would generally be known at an early stage. Do your best to enter these details. You can always go back and refine your project details later when more is known about the design. Let's look at an example I created earlier. I began by entering the project name and description and selecting the building type and project type from the drop-down lists. Then I entered design details, including gross internal floor area, number of stories, floor-to-floor height, footprint, perimeter length, and glazing ratio. If your project has an atrium, select atrium and enter the width and length. I then entered site details, including the site area and the percentage of hard versus soft landscaping. Select your site condition from the drop-down list. If you select brownfield or inner city, the tool provides a Demolition Quantities Estimator. You can use this estimator to add an estimate of demolition waste to your project. The tool does not estimate excavation waste as this is entirely site-specific. If you want to add excavation waste to your project, simply enter the quantities here. For housing projects, you are required to enter similar project details at the top of the screen, including project name, description and type, site details and excavation quantities. Now we need to scroll down and enter project design details by selecting from these options, including number of bed spaces, type of dwelling, plan shape, roof type, number of floors or stories in the dwelling, and the number of integrated garage spaces. Let's go back to our pre-populated hospital example. When you're happy with the project details entered, simply click on Save and Next. You will notice we have moved along the breadcrumbs to View Edit Assumptions. This is where we can see the tool's assumed specification for our project. The tool will apply wastage rates to this specification in order to generate a waste forecast. Scroll through these panes and change the specification where needed. As an example, let's change the floor finish from linoleum to vinyl. Now we can press Save to confirm our selection. Then we can press Next to move to the performance screen. So far, we've logged into the tool and added a new project, including entering project details and editing the specification. Our next step is to generate a performance report, which will include our indicative waste forecast. This is the performance screen. You can see where we are in the breadcrumbs. Headline results are provided at the top of the screen. Results are reported against two levels of practice: baseline or typical practice and good practice. Results reported include massive waste arisings, massive waste to landfill, value of materials wasted, cost of waste disposal, and the total cost of waste, which is the value of materials wasted plus the cost of waste disposal. The table also reports on embodied carbon dioxide and recycled content. Good practice provides an indication of how performance could be improved. You can see here that waste arisings can be dramatically reduced, as can value of materials wasted and cost of disposal, while recycled content can be increased. You can generate an Excel report and choose what to include in the report. All reporting options are selected by default, but we can untick any of these. If we don't want to include demolition, for example, we could untick that. The report contains two tabs. The Project Details tab provides a reminder of the details you entered when setting up the project. This sheet also lists the specification assumptions made by the tool. This column shows the construction components selected by the tool from the database it shares with RAP's NetWaste tool. Now let's take a look at the Project Performance tab. The detailed results include, for instance, demolition and excavation materials available for reuse, quantity of materials consumed, and potential reduction in waste arisings. In this instance, we're shown both baseline and good practice results. The difference between these is a potential reduction in waste arisings. These results are also provided in a table so you can see the exact amounts. Each set of results displays a list of key questions. These questions have been taken from RAP's Design Team Guide. They can help prompt the design team to consider solutions, for instance, in this case, to reduce waste arisings. Key questions include: can the design or any part of the design be manufactured off-site, or could site activities become a process of assembly rather than construction? Could the design be coordinated to minimise excess cutting and jointing? Or could the building be designed to standard material dimensions? When you've generated your performance report, you can use the results to help design out waste on the project. You can follow RAP's design review workshop process to generate and prioritise ideas. The performance report helps us understand where we should focus our attention when designing out waste. For example, if the external walls and substructure will generate the most waste, the design team can focus on preventing waste arisings from these building elements. The performance report provides results that relate to each of RAP's 5 principles for designing out waste. It also includes some key questions to prompt the design team. And that brings us to the end of Module 2. In this module we have covered how to set up a new project, including adding project details and editing the specification, how to view project performance and generate an indicative waste forecast, and how to use the results to help the design team consider waste prevention actions. When you're ready to record and assess design solutions on a project, you can move on to Module 3. Module 3 explains how to enter waste prevention actions or design solutions into the tool, how to calculate the impact of design solutions, how to generate a report, and finally how to add a waste forecast and waste prevention actions to the project site waste management plan.